They can be in this at any moment. They just gotta up their mental game, let their talent speak.
Amazing placement. What a shot.
A Yahtzee overhead.
Aspect of mental toughness here that's just different.
I like the body language of all 4 players.
Oh, look at that shot! Great hands from Kiro.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the 2023-24 APTA Tour presented by Volley. I am Matt McClure alongside Randy Markey, live from the Cleveland Racquet Club in beautiful, historic Cleveland, Ohio. Bringing you the Cleveland Masters Men's and Women's NRT. This tour event, which is the 5th stop on the APTA Tour with the live streaming, brought to you by the APTA membership, APTA national sponsors, Volley and Fusion, and our local sponsors, buckle up for this list: Trombold Equipment, Viking Athletics, Brent Luce with Carnegie Investment Council, the Compass Group of Daymark Wealth Partners, Geraci's Restaurants, Gilmore Security, Lau Chemical, Howard Hanna, Suzanne Deering and Associates, Reset Lounge, and Weaver Fabrication. Again, I'm Matt McClure alongside Randy Markey. Randy, would you like to introduce our players for this men's semifinal?
So as we are looking at the court on the far side, Andrew Ong with the man bun.
Rocking it.
Checking his hairdo right now.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Oh, this is incredible.
Wow. I mean, if you guys could see me right now, you'd recognize how jealous I am of that flow.
We are clipping it and sending that to him.
Yeah, oh, my Lord. When you got a bald head like mine, that is envious. And his partner, Robert Stineman. And on the near side, I guess we'll wait till they walk back.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So in the ad side, we've got Mike Wagner. And in the deuce court, Scott Kahler. And here we go.
These guys are getting ready to fire it up here. All the main draw matches are, of course, 2 out of 3 sets. No different here in the men's semifinal. I tried to get these guys to play best of 5 because I know it's going to be, just a great match. But they all refuse categorically across the board. They said that was a terrible idea. So this is a fun one because I've had the opportunity to play with all these guys and get to know them. And strangely, they're all really good people. So it's hard to root against anyone. But I'm sure as the match goes on, you'll find a reason. Tough dig already.
Nice. So, Matt, you know these guys pretty well. Tell us a little bit about their games.
Yeah, so Ong and Stineman, probably in my mind are going to try to bring a little bit more offense on the regular in this particular match. I think that Mike and Scott are a little bit more steady, and you might see a little bit more traditional paddle coming out of their side. I was lucky enough to be on the court with Andrew Ong one of the first times that he ever hit a ball, and I think he was better than me by the end of that 90-minute session. So. His game has just come along very quickly, in Chicago, playing with all those guys, and he also runs the local Legends League out of Chicago, which is kind of the top-tier pros and tournament players that get together, once every couple of weeks to get some extra matches in. So it's a cool event for sure. And then Robert Stineman I've played with a bunch, and he just has a cannon of a forehand. Especially on the return, that he'll just rock that ball repeatedly. So I would expect him to get hot. Mike Wagner, no stranger to the offense, although I would say probably his screen drive is a little bit more of a threat, especially out of the backhand side. He just really times it well off that backside screen and can do some damage. And then, Scott Kahler, who doesn't hit the ball particularly hard, can just put the ball on a dime. So, you'll see him step up and hit a lot of push drives with his forehand. Nothing with an overwhelming amount of pace, but, man, if he gets a hold of stuff, he can just put it, a millimeter over the net, and it's just always a problem. So
or in
I
the
think
case of that shot, right in the middle of the net.
So maybe going after the backhand a little bit, early to get the juices flowing. But, yeah, I think this is going to be a phenomenal match. this is what I would have, kind of picked looking at the draw for the semifinal. I'm not surprised that this is where we're at. So, yeah, fun one across the board. And always, cool to see, guys play this tournament repeatedly. I know that Wagner and Kahler have, played this a whole bunch. Obviously.
But first time together, though.
Yeah, first time together. But just because they're, close enough in region where I know that they're here a lot. So it's a good spot.
All right, we got a break point here. See if Mike can dial it in.
And he does.
He does.
Man, that closing ball from Wagner just shows up so quick, doesn't it? He just has such a short prep on his backhand, and he can just snap a ball. It's on your paddle before you register his follow-through.
And you were talking about Kahler's precision. Mike's no slouch. He's got pretty laser-like capabilities himself. I've always been impressed. Also by the degree to which it always looks like he's not even trying.
Yes.
He's so casual.
Yes,
and
but you
so
can't
talented.
hate him because he's the nicest guy.
I know.
And so it's tough when he hits you in the chest and you're still like, why do I like this guy? But super nice guy, talented across the board. So
Yeah, well, I've played against him twice, and it's been demoralizing.
yeah,
That's all I can say.
I feel that for sure. So what do you think strategy-wise here? Do you have a pick? As if you had to choose a speed, fast versus slow, who do you think that benefits?
I think fast is gonna benefit Ong and Stineman.
I agree.
And I think Mike and Scott are going to do everything they can to keep it slowed down at a pace that they can control the game.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I think if the match starts to go the direction that it is right now in this moment, that it would definitely favor, Wagner and Kahler. They just, are solid at this pace, and it doesn't allow Stineman and Ong to accelerate easily, without really coming up with the perfect setup. So let's see what happens here.
And I don't know enough to know the degree to which Ong and Stineman have a shot clock, or if they're willing to play this patient game.
It's interesting. I think that they are. They're both, true competitors. I think Andrew Ong might have a little bit more of a shot clock than Stineman does, just because his, weapon is his drive, and it's such a solid shot. And I actually had, talked to Andrew Ong recently at Medina earlier in the season, and he was kind of like, struggling a little bit with committing to hitting his forehand with pace. But it didn't mean that he did poorly in the tournament. It just, was something that maybe he was, working, trying to work back into his game. So, but yeah, he definitely, out of the two of them, might grind a little bit more. You'll see a lot more of that from Stineman with a great anticipation and create a transition there.
Yeah, Scott's going to have to be careful with that. He loves that waterfall up, down, or down, up, I guess. And Steinman's obviously got his number. He's going to be looking to pick that off, spike it.
I don't think you were giving yourself enough credit where you were saying, you don't know what you don't know. Ong and Stineman were in the parking lot saying, just do what Randy Markey would do. And there it is. That's a very Randy Markey-like play to hit a backhand inside out down the alley to take the net.
Oh, yeah, that's my bread and butter.
Just
That's
a little
my bread
deep
and butter.
from the
I've got that
push.
shot.
Yeah, these first couple games, as teams feel each other out a little bit, I think you'll see more of that. Scott had an opportunity there where he sensed that, there was a little bit of they were out of position a little bit, but maybe he forced the shot, and in trying to convert it, came up with an error. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see that get made, in a couple games here as everybody really finds their groove.
Yeah, and I did watch the the quarterfinal match that Mike and Scott played. He didn't miss many of them.
Yeah, no, they were looking really comfortable in their quarter. No, it's a great play by Stineman, capitalizing on the short ball, and he's up there before that thing even hit the deck. Good read. As Wagner sees the opportunity, but way to step forward on that second volley in the sequence from Stineman to shut down the attack a little bit. You know, it's interesting after having played with these guys a whole bunch, or at least a fair amount, and watching them play. This is going to sound like a weird thing to say, but Mike Wagner's the only guy that I've never seen be bothered on the court by anything.
Yeah.
I mean, the other three, and it's not like I'm not saying that anybody's, not mentally tough out there, but I've seen, some moments and some meltdowns from the other three, and Wagner is he's a paddle robot, I guess, created in a government lab to just be in the moment all the time. You'll see the switch a lot at the net from Ong and Stineman. Andrew feels a little bit more comfortable really ramping up the spin on his overheads. And I do think that Stineman is a little bit more of a threat in that situation where he likes to pick off volleys and, try to dagger them, low into corners. So I would expect them to be in that position as often as possible. Yeah. Yep.
Stineman is not.
Yeah, he did
giving up the
not.
net.
He did not retreat. They kind of thought maybe they were going to steal one there, and he held his ground and closed. And, maybe they floated the ball through the middle when they thought they had a successful transition. So 2-1 first set. If you're just joining us here for the Cleveland Masters in Cleveland, Ohio, I'm Matt McClure alongside Randy Markey, and this is the men's semifinal of the APTA Tour fifth event of the season. Randy, you are a local Cleveland guy and have been for a couple of years. What's going on in the Cleveland paddle scene? I mean, obviously this is an awesome event and always has been. Super fun and well run, out here. The weekend after charities maybe is the only thing that that you would change, but
Yeah.
What's going on in the Cleveland space?
Well, I will tell you, it's been really fun to watch not only this tournament grow over the last 10 years. I mean, the caliber of talent that has been drawn to Cleveland for this event has really improved over the last 10 years. And but beyond that, the paddle scene here just continues to grow, thanks in large measure to a really strong board for our local Platform Tennis Association,
Yeah.
the GCPTA. And our tournament director, Liam Morris, who is the president of the GCPTA, and Brent Luce, have been running a summer paddle league here that I believe is still the largest summer paddle league in the country, at pushing 250 players.
That's awesome.
And this year they picked up, I want to say, 45 new players.
Jeez.
So I'll tell you something. I showed up at a league match the other night, and there was a D1 league match, and then they were splitting courts with D2. I recognized no one on the D2 side of the match, which is just terrific.
Yeah, it's gotta be a
says a
good
lot
feeling.
about what's going on here in terms of the growth of the game. And like I say, that credit goes to Leah and Brent. They've
Yeah.
really done a phenomenal.
Yeah, it's awesome. Summer paddle here in Cleveland is definitely a highlight of the season. I was just about to say that was great team coverage from Kahler, Wagner, and smart of Stineman to kind of take an opportunity to push a ball out wide as Wagner was just a little bit out of position, maybe baited him into a drive where he wasn't fully set up.
You know, it's interesting. Most people would tell you not to push that ball to that deuce player's forehand. But they know that Andrew is not comfortable with his forehand.
Yeah, which is it's sort of there's a bit of a catch-22 there because he is getting progressively better with his lob and has started to turn it into a little bit more of a weapon. So I don't know if it'll be quite the benefit, you know, long term that they think if they just keep shoveling the ball there. I think his lob is going to start to maybe, you know, pull them out of position enough and cause enough of an issue where when Stineman gets a hold of a ball, it could be a problem. This is really great hands here from
all over that.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, what a great dig from Wagner to get over there. If that thing hits the screen, that point's over. Great recovery as a team. Oh, great play by Scott to hold his ground at the net, too, knowing that Mike is going to pull the trigger on the drive. Starting to see a little bit more rhythm here. Everybody kind of moving a little smoother around the court than they did in the first couple games. Really comfortable switching as needed. Not, you know, not a lot of communication necessary on a lot of these shots. Not hearing the super consistent mine and yours call as everybody gets comfortable with the positions that they're playing. That's a fascinating one to me because as a former teaching pro, I don't think I've ever had a student that I felt confident just being silent out on the court. I was making everybody call everything. And, you know, then you watch this high-level paddle and everybody has, these guys have played so much, both together and with other people, where it's like they have one conversation and then they're like, nah, we're fine. Forcing that just a little bit on a really thin margin. That's kind of what I was talking about with Andrew Ong's lob. I don't think he gave Wagner, and I know it was a little bit short, but he didn't have much to do with it. Hard to continue to attack that deuce side with no real estate. So 3-1. Stineman serving.
There's Stineman again, closing the net with these guys on the service line, driving at his chest.
That's just a little let cord clipper that goes long. Keep the nets tight here in Cleveland. As it should be.
Nice spot. Great transition paddle here. This is good stuff.
You know, both of these teams so solid at the net, but I just get the impression ever so slightly that Ong and Stineman kind of want that volley a little bit more. And I think it, as we mentioned at the beginning, it kind of goes with their style of play, where because they like to play a little bit faster, they don't mind when teams are driving at them. They're looking at that as an opportunity, you know, as long as they can be prepped.
Stineman clearly doesn't mind.
Yeah, he's definitely feels like one of those guys when you play him where if you hit like a mid-speed drive and you just really didn't commit to it, that you're in trouble. That's a great low drive from Wagner out of the screen that I was talking about earlier. That two-handed, the backhand screen drive is just such a solid shot for him. He gets such great kind of downward angle on it. Catches the line with that ball. That's tough. That's another good transition ball. Another situation where Andrew Ong is super comfortable is in that transition. Somebody drives the ball past him and he runs back, kind of keeps his eye on his opponents and looks for an opportunity to poke one back while they're not fully committed at the net. Good low drive there from Scott.
These guys are struggling to find some rhythm here.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the beginning of a match is like that. They're not hitting poor quality shots. They just might not be syncing up at the right time. It's certainly, you have those moments, as difficult as it is, because, it's just a fraction of points that can be the difference maker in a set. If one of you comes up with a good shot and then the other one makes an error and then that reverses, you end up really feeling like you're treading water if you can't string something together. Smart reset overhead there from Scott, sensing that Robert crept forward a little bit, keeping the ball away from him.
This is one of the more patient points of this match so far.
Yeah, I really do feel like this pace kind of benefits, again, Wagner Kahler a little bit more. A big part of it being that, if nothing else, maybe you can get Ong and Stineman to cool off a little bit. They haven't been making a lot of mistakes. Caught the line with that shot. Oof. Oh, opportunity there. And Mike sensing, blood in the water, but good digs from both sides.
It's the first time I've seen Robert back away from the whole match.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's hear from one of our sponsors here. Volley is the official sponsor of the APTA for the 2023-24 season. Backed by cutting-edge technology, including its unique Vision software, Volley is the innovator of the first AI-enabled racket sports training experience that simulates point play. By enabling players and pros to record sessions on the court, Volley also delivers off-the-court player analysis and support, all from your phone. It takes only minutes to sign up. Ask your pro about a Volley lesson today. For more information, visit getvolley.com. You guys slated to have a Volley in Cleveland anywhere? Anybody discuss that yet? Because it should be on your docket.
Yeah, the Flats platform facility. I
Awesome.
played a league match down there on Tuesday night, and there are 2 Volley machines.
Oh, nice. All right, that might be overkill. I feel like we're creating a Skynet situation. I'm really going to be upset if the end of the world is brought about by the AI from the Volley machine. But it's just that smart, so until the apocalypse, why not make your game better?
I've yet to use one. I've heard great reviews, though.
All right, so 4-1, Ong and Stineman in the driver's seat. Looking awfully comfortable. It's a good read from Wagner. It's those micro adjustments that can be a difference maker in a match. So far, they've kind of let Stineman step up and, off of a good lob and take a drive on his terms. And if they start, adding some pace when they sense that he is, looking to dictate with his drive, they can keep him at bay a little bit and maybe throw him off rhythm as well. Nice shot. That's good read, Andrew Ong, but that roller came out so far that it just got out in front of him. Bet you can hear a little bit on the shotgun mic out there that the party is just getting started here at Cleveland Racket Club. Saturday night of Cleveland Masters is always a blast. It's a lot of entertainment going on across the board. Everybody coming out, enjoying paddle, food and beverage, and everyone's betting on these matches. Oh, just me and Randy? Okay. Oh, yeah, caught the line. Unexpected. Is there really a magician? There's going to be a magician? And not just Andrew Ong with his screenplay, but a legitimate magician. I hope he does balloon animals.
If there's not face painting, I'm leaving.
Oh, yeah. I want to be a cat. Oh, geez, that swashbuckling dagger volley from Stineman to come up with that shot has to be super frustrating for Kahler Wagner. They're like, we handcuffed him and he still made the volley. That's annoying.
Turned his wrist completely inside out.
Yep. Another great move. This will turn into a transition here.
Nice job closing the net there.
Yep. Good patience there. Great roller as well, but read it early. Man, that's a tough transition. We were talking briefly before the match got going about some of the, ways that the game has changed over the past few years. And it used to be that, it certainly seemed like somebody hitting an offensive overhead meant that you were generally playing defense, right? A good roller that stayed low or like a heavy cut overhead, meant that, the team, at the net hitting those shots was on the attack. Now it feels like there's a lot of offense being played off of offense. And not just in a screen drive way, right? But you just saw Stineman take a couple of those balls in which a heavy roller was hit, and he took it off the deck with his backhand and cracked it right back. And speaks to the athleticism and talent that has entered the game. It just absolutely changed the style.
And it almost seems like some of these things that felt novel and would surprise a player, they're seeing it 3 times a week in a in a pickup match,
right?
Let alone in competitive.
Right.
The spin and the variation is no longer surprising because everybody at this level is doing it.
Yeah.
And as soon as they see their paddle set to hit a particular shot, they know exactly where that ball's going.
Yeah. Yeah.
While Scott didn't get a jump on that ball, he knew where it was going.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just a particularly good cutter, I think, from Andrew Ong. So 40 love here, little opportunity, little breathing room. I jinxed him, so this will be 4-4 in a split second. But one of the great comments that got made that was brought up at Charities with Brad Easterbrook and Guy Moore while they were announcing was they were talking about how guys coming into the game now are starting with this style, right? And it used to be even a few years ago that this wasn't the way that you learned to play. It wasn't textbook, to have this level of offense and spin on your overhead and drive. First, you learn to keep the ball in play for like your first 2 years of don't make a mistake, throw the lob up, only drive when you feel like it's a guaranteed shot. And now you got guys starting on day one like, oh no, you crush that ball off the screen, or you know, if he hits a little bit of a floater, you attack it with everything you got, you know, and it's just that that's day one, you know, for some of these players, and it just is accelerating that transition. It's great hands right there from Scott to make that volley and then be able to retreat simultaneously. Good replay, Cal. Ooh, that's a heavy drive. Little Marat Safin jumping backhand flick there from Stineman to get on top of that ball.
So we're looking at 5-2 here in the first set. And this is a bit of a surprise, man.
Yeah.
Didn't expect it to be, I expected it to be tight. But clearly Scott and Mike are the favorites here.
Yeah, I do. I do think that one of the elements is just sort of about finding, you know, the right speed, and it is very possible that, you know, if they start a little slow. I know that they want to slow the game down and that they feel like, you know, Andrew Ong isn't going to hurt him a ton, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Mike and Scott start to accelerate here a little bit and do a little bit more with their overheads and maybe try to force a little transition. I really do feel like Kahler in particular is one of those guys where he reads the way that a point develops, and if you hit a drive at the wrong time, he can make you pay with a volley. But that might require a little bit of acceleration from them, you know, at the net. So let's see what the adjustments look like here. As a player, you are always irritated when you ask for the new ball warm-up serve, make it, and then miss the live ball. There's no higher level of frustration than why did I waste a warm-up serve on?
Little confusion there.
Yeah. Again, you know, dangerous to continue to attack the guy on the deuce side. You know, that lob, especially when you're dealing with two righties. It worked out in that situation, but, you know, you got two righties at the net, and that lob coming out of that deuce corner as Andrew gets more and more comfortable. He's going to put it in positions where they're, you know, there's going to be some miscommunication. They're going to get pulled in a spot that they don't like. It's a great dig from Kahler. That's a tough ball as that thing's below the bottom beam. Good read. See, I actually would love to see a few more of those low trajectory block lobs from Wagner, because I think that it starts to put Andrew Ong in a position where he can't wind up and hit as much offense on a lot of his shots. Nothing wrong with the high ball to recover, but I think if he's blocking it and he's under control, that kind of turns into an offensive lob, especially because Andrew Ong has such a huge windup on his overhead when he's going to attack. Maybe reduces a little bit of time. It's a good waterfall. Scott's tall. If you can make him jump and dive into the quarter, that's a good waterfall. Another one. Oh, it's a good look from Kahler. He wasn't able to convert, but that was, you know, he read that one a little earlier and got up there. So 30 all here. First set, men's semifinals. bottom half of the draw. This is kind of a strange moment and weird to say, but building a little momentum and maybe finding a groove is really important for Kahler Wagner here. You know, it's not like they're giving up on the set, but, you know, in the back of your head, you know, it's just a couple of points. Or they could do that 12 more times, and they would be right back in it. That's fine, too.
Sometimes that's the break you need.
Yeah. But really important, I think, that, you know, especially to start the next set if they're feeling like it's a little bit out of reach. What a great move from Andrew Ong. That's a fast blitz to kind of take away that waterfall or that down-up overhead. You know, Stineman's feeling comfortable when he starts hitting that slice forehand shovel shot. Just like a sort of a random ball. He's just probing. It's just a little tester. But that's something that you only do when you're really feeling like everything's kind of firing on all cylinders.
Well, truth be told, he's missed, what, 2 shots the entire match?
It's tough. Yeah. Yeah, and that was another ball where Mike read that perfectly, but that ball from Ong was just the perfect amount of low, even though Wagner was on top of the net. It was a tough situation. So set point here for Ong Stineman. It's great overhead from Wagner. Yeah, Andrew's starting to really find the precision with these lobs here. When you see Scott and Mike both take a step, you know, when you see Kahler Wagner both take a step back off the net, you know that he's starting to find some spots where they're not fully comfortable.
And if you note, they're both hitting those overheads from at or behind the service line. So there's not a lot of offense they can show with any of these.
Really
overheads.
forcing them to have to, you know, just kind of play safe recovery, reset overheads, and move it around a little bit, but not a lot from those angles. Good move from Scott to step over and take that angle away. He knew that backhand drive was coming. Still ended up having to retreat. But a good play. His transition. Man, that's a tough set right there. Really well played from Ong Stineman. Just not a lot of errors, and, you know, came up with all the right shots at big moments.
Yeah, and there were some, you know, truth be told, some self-inflicted wounds there.
Yep.
You know, Scott and Mike both made some loose plays. To your point, you know, you watch Mike's body language. He's like a goldfish, man. He shakes that off.
Yeah.
So I would expect that we're going to see an adjustment here in the second set. I don't think we're going to see the same style of play from Kahler and Wagner.
Absolutely.
They're going to come out and try and show them something different.
Well, let's quickly hear from some of our local sponsors here in Cleveland Paddle. Viking, from the sleek cutting-edge design of the Viking lineup to a ball preferred by the best but still used by all, Viking has not stopped revolutionizing, adapting, or producing over the past 30 years. No need to tuck the helmet and horns away when it gets warm. Make sure to check out Vikings' cutting-edge pickleball lineup as well, offering a perfect balance of power and control while providing maximum spin and touch with a carbon fiber fine grit finish.
That sounds downright sexy.
It absolutely does. Let's take a quick break to hear from our national sponsors here on the tournament. We'll be right back for the second set.
Ready for a whole new training experience? Welcome to Volley. At Volley, we've developed the first AI training system for racket sports, providing pros with the advanced teaching tools they've been waiting for, and giving players a new way to level up their game and enhance their time on the court. Ask your pro about a volley lesson today and learn what volley can do for you. We'll see you on the court.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland Masters. This is the 2023-24 edition, not to be confused with the vintage editions of 95-96, which was also a great Cleveland Masters, but we are adhering to the rules of time and space today. I'm Matt McClure alongside Randy Markey, and we are just entering the second set of the men's semifinals. Andrew Ong and Robert Stineman playing against Scott Kahler and Mike Wagner. Ong and Stineman take the first one 6-2, but I bet we're going to see some adjustments. I don't think that Kahler Wagner are going to go away gently into the night. Randy, are you ready for this?
I am on the edge of my seat.
You paid for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about the 2023-2024 APTA Tour.
Let's.
Shall we? So the tour is comprised of 16 tournaments, all of which will be live streamed. Of the 16 tournaments, there are 4 Grand Prix. Chicago, which happened last weekend with the Chicago Charities. The Philly Cricket Classic, November 17th through the 19th. The Detroit Invitational in January, the last weekend in January. And Short Hills, February 10th and 11th. And Nationals will be held at The Country Club in Brookline, Massachusetts, March 8th through 10th.
Well, Boston action. Always enjoyed tournaments in Boston. Fun area, good group. Excited for Nationals this year to be back there.
Beantown is always fun.
Yeah. So second set here, and this is not a surprise to me after having seen Stineman and Ong play so much in the Chicago paddle leagues on the live stream, but just kind of, it just is gonna feel, I suspect, that especially Andrew Ong is gonna come out feeling loose. And he's gonna attack some more overheads, and he's gonna have an extra bounce in his step. Just a mishit volley there, but a really well-placed drive to put it on that, spot between them on that backhand side. Kahler Wagner. Just a heads up from our other semifinal, McGrathville Care won the first set 6-1 and lead Crick and Hirsch 1-0 in the second set. If you're interested in the tracking of the other semifinal. And gosh, I hope I pronounced those names correctly.
I think you got Crick.
That is a great low return. Okay, good. That's 25%. It's like a middle school flashback. Okay. You're doing great. What is that, a D minus? Oh, no. Just pushed a little bit long on that one. One of the tricky parts, especially about Scott Kahler's return, is he because he is kind of pushing his forehand, he hits it at a height where it's tough to read. I've seen many players let his forehand, drive go past them because they think it's going to be out, and then it just kind of dips down, an inch inside the baseline. It's a tough shot. So 1-0 Ong Stineman taking it. And let's hear quickly from some of our local sponsors here on the Cleveland side. Geraci's Restaurant, award-winning pizza, classic Italian dishes, and inviting atmosphere. Proud supporter of the official pizza of the Cleveland Masters. And I got to tell you that having an official pizza for your tournament is something every event should strive for.
And it's good pizza.
It is. Yep. Staying super calm, no real concern from Wagner Kahler. It's typically what you prefer to see. I like that play from Kahler. Just starting to mix up the speed of the overhead, you know, banging one into the screens a little bit. It's not like they were out of position, so they kind of are, you know, baiting Andrew maybe a little bit to do something. It did not pay off in that situation, but they weren't quite as set up at the net as they were previously. Smart, changing it up, going with the body serve on that one from Kahler, you know, feeling like Stineman getting comfortable on his wings, moving, you know, out to the side to hit that shot. That's a good pick. Sneaky little direction change there from Mike Wagner, huh? When he takes that overhead and he kind of places it to the deuce side without changing the direction of his body at all. That's one that can sneak past you a little bit if you're not really paying attention. It's tough to know here if Kahler Wagner really changed a lot of their strategy when it comes to. That's a good play. Really solid move
you know,
from Andrew
what's
Ong.
interesting, they've been playing super patient, and as soon as they get offensive with their overheads is when they get all chaos ensues, and they're losing the point.
Yeah,
I think their
penalizes
best
them a little
move
bit.
right now is to kind of keep that slow play.
Yep.
And let the shot clock run on Ong and Stineman. It seems like it's running out on them.
Yeah, I agreed. Especially when they're at the net, it's just a very tight, you know, patient game from Ong Stineman right now. They're not playing outside of their own game. They're not driving balls that they shouldn't. It's just, you know, can kind of mentally wear you down. Because I don't get the impression that Wagner Kahler want to be out here for 4 hours and just hit reset overheads either. But
the last three rollers they've hit, they've paid for.
Yeah, have turned into, and that's another move where that error is caused by Andrew Ong's ability to close the net, puts so much pressure that if you float the ball up, he's just going to stab a volley.
Stineman is just
he just loves being up there. He's just hoping that everyone continues to drive. There it is again. It's a nice little flick drive, absolutely, from Mike Wagner, but just unbothered. Yeah, I was going to say that I do feel like I'm not sure how much of the strategy, you know, might come into play with the adjustment from Kahler Wagner, but I do suspect that, you know, if nothing else, they felt like, you know, we can play better, we can tighten it up a little bit, you know, decision-making wise, and you know, if they make a few more volleys and they convert the right drives, that the difference between 6-2 and 2-6 is not a huge margin. That's a nice play. Yep, I love that decision from Scott.
It's a great move.
Especially because he had Andrew pulled so far off of the net that driving at that player, you get the impression that Stineman felt like he had to insert himself in the point, and running and volleying at the same time is always a little tougher to do. Yeah, great little flick. There's that again, that side backhand screen drive. Ong is one of those guys we've talked about in the past too, where like you can't actually tell the difference if he likes his one-hander or his two-hander more. He can seemingly switch between them at will and do a lot of different things with the ball. That's tough. That ball was going to kiss the side screen, and Mike felt like he had to pull the trigger on it or it was going to die. Just kind of spun enough to cause a problem. That's a great swing from Scott. I like it. Keep going. Yep.
My God.
Yeah, really well
These guys
played.
are just not missing. And so, you know, that's interesting. These, you know, Kahler and Wagner are not playing a bad match. But Ong is being very disciplined in his role. And Stineman simply has not missed.
Yeah, no, you know, maybe one backhand return in the first set that you saw. It was sort of a loose, you know, swing, but otherwise, I mean, it's just if you're gonna convert that many drives, you just feel the pressure all the time with the ball coming at you like that.
And Stineman seems to be winning every swashbuckling exchange of pickleball volleys there.
Yeah. Real quick, again, from one of our local sponsors, Carnegie Investment Council. Thank you to Brent Luce with Carnegie Investment Council. With hard work, accountability, responsibility, and imaginative stewardship, Carnegie can help contribute to more prosperous and productive lives for our clients, families, and community. CarnegieInvestment.com. Oh, we're playing pickleball. Let's let everything bounce. We'll switch here, putting Scott and Wagner on their favorite sides. I'm not quite sure what to say here, Randy. If you're Wagner, Kahler, do you want to be at the net or do you want to be at the baseline?
Wow.
We're really flipping a coin with this one, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just in terms of what we've seen so far.
Well, I think they're better off at the net, only because driving seems futile. You know, when they get offensive opportunities, Stineman is closing the net, and he is not missing his volley.
Yeah.
But they simply have to be more patient when they're at the net. Every time they've been getting aggressive and trying to create something, they have paid for it.
And that is just such a thin edge of the ball overhead there from Andrew Ong, who, I mean, in terms of, you know, he has picked up that shot as fast as anyone, you know, that I've ever seen. I know that there's a lot of guys that can do it, a lot of guys with talent and racket skills. But, I mean, after just a few months, he was like, I bet I could make this ball spin back over the net. It was, I think I played paddle for 5 years before that even occurred to me. It's a good read from Wagner. See if they can capitalize on a little bit of adrenaline here. One of the other interesting things, I bet if I were to go back and watch this match, I do think that maybe Ong and Stineman have played with a little bit more discipline on their overheads as well, and maybe that Kahler and Wagner swung the ball around a little bit too much, in some of their desire to attack. But I mean, in that last sequence there just a few seconds ago, you just saw Andrew Ong hit 6 balls in a row to the same spot down the middle to Kahler's backhand and just refused to deviate.
Yeah, he's not doing much special with it. He's just playing smart.
Yeah, he's just, and unless, Steinman's up there hitting a waterfall like he is like that, they're really not hitting the ball to the corner. That had a bunch of junk on it that skipped low, almost into Scott's knee. That's a tough one. Such a valuable shot now, even as a setup where, you don't have to be hitting a winner perfectly with a cutter like that, but it pulls people out of position so quickly.
Great move by Ong.
Yep. Interesting. So I was just about to say that was the first point where we've seen Ong and Stineman swing the ball around a little too much without, sort of not really a plan, just kind of hitting towards a corner, and Wagner Kahler sensed it and took advantage almost immediately. Great volley. Yeah, that's tough. All right, so we're getting close to some must-win points here for Kahler Wagner. Yeah, Scott feeling like he has to do a little bit more with the ball because of where the match has kind of been going so far, and sometimes you can swing your way back into it, but that's tough. So 4-0 here with Stineman serving, Andrew Ong up at the net, Scott Kahler over here on the deuce side, and Mike Wagner over there on the ad side. Another good serve, forcing the movement on the return. Good placement right there from Wagner, just on that seam between the two players. Good read by Kahler to get across the court and an opportunity there. Yeah, it's just tough. They just... So much of the game of paddle is about your ability to counterpunch, right? Where somebody decides they're going to accelerate, and your skill at taking this extra speed on the ball and using it to your advantage is just such a huge part of the game. And at this point, I don't see Ong and Stineman being uncomfortable with any pace that gets thrown at them on either side, from, whether someone's driving at them or if they're, taking a ball at the baseline where someone ramps it up and hits a heavy overhead. It just doesn't seem like they're feeling threatened.
Frankly, they've been turning it around and converting a lot of those quickly.
Yeah, that counterpunch has been happening real fast. Especially off of Steinman's backhand side, but Andrew has had his fair share of screen drives as well. That's a little bit wide on the overhead. I feel for Mike Wagner there, you start feeling like, you have to extend, the angles a little bit on the court and really keep the ball away from people, and you start hitting thinner margins. It's a tough adjustment.
My read on this is that the difference in this match has been discipline.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it feels like right now. Great return. And Scott Kahler, to his credit, I know that he's missed a few more returns here in this match than he, does sometimes throughout an entire tournament. So I know he's feeling a little off rhythm. I think you do have to kind of hand it to Ong and Stineman for making it feel like, you just have those moments sometimes when a team is hot where you just are going, what do I have to do to win a point against these guys, And it creeps into your subconscious and you start doing a little more than you should and it slips away. Now, I honestly would like nothing more here than to look stupid and have this totally turn around and go 3 sets.
That would be fun.
I don't know if it's going to happen, but... His hands just a little wide. All right, so... real quick, from another local sponsor here in Cleveland, Gilmore Security. Thanks to Gilmore Security, in the business of keeping families and businesses safe with focus on customer service, honesty, and integrity, Gilmore Security has separated itself from local and national competition over the last 50 years. Visit GilmoreSecurity.com for more information. And again, Fusion Sports, one of our national sponsors, in collaboration with the APTA, Fusion is at the forefront of personalized gear and apparel. Backed by a team of seasoned industry experts, we provide exclusive access to high-end products from top-tier retail brands, all poised for customization with your club logo, team name, corporate branding. Our streamlined approach guarantees a hassle-free shopping experience, complemented by custom online storefronts and swift ordering. Visit gearbyfusion.com and let Fusion seamlessly weave your branding into elite merchandise. I have a special place in my heart for Fusion Sports because they're the market's solution to an age-old problem of how can we run an event and have everything be custom and smooth, especially, on the tournament director side. That stuff is tough. So if you have an event going on, private or otherwise, reach out to Fusion as soon as possible.
I agree.
Oh, just such a measured backhand there from Stineman. The first time that he didn't rip the cover off the ball, just placed it perfectly around Kahler at the net. That's tough. I like that shift and looking for the drive, but I don't think it came out high enough to be able to convert. Great team coverage here. Really smart play. Stineman, you see him just stand over by the door as he knows Andrew Ong is going to have to cover him on that shot, because if he gets back in the court, he's going to have a bullseye on his face. Starting to swing the ball around a little bit here, and you're starting to see Ong and Stineman, look for their opportunities, step up early, kind of sense that drive. It just really seems like any acceleration or movement corner to corner just benefits Ong and Stineman. Now, a little wide on that one. Quick upgrade. Quick update. I'm going to combine words. I'm a true wordsmith. From the other semifinal, McGrath and Voltaire won the first set 6-1 and still lead Crick Hirsch 3-2 by a break of serve in the second set. But you know what they say, Randy? It's not a break until you hold. So. That's tough. That's maybe the third backhand that we've seen in the whole match Stineman miss. And he only missed that one because it bounced off the camera. Took a weird angle.
Who put that camera?
I don't know, but they are fired. That entire squad. Terrible camera placement. Oh, geez. Extra kick on that one. Oh, the drop shot off of the overhead prep, keeping it casual. What a dig. Okay, this is the kind of point right here from Kahler Wagner with some scramble where they can turn this whole thing around. Extra attack here from Andrew Ong. Yeah, yep.
Mike held that really well.
Yeah, you can hang in there on the first two, but as Mike gets progressively closer to you with that drive, he's eventually going to find a window. I agree with Stineman. He should have bailed probably on that one. Maybe a little stubborn based on the results. Great volley right there from Kahler and the touch. Somehow Andrew continuing to glide around the court like he's on rollerblades. Because it's 1997. Oh, he missed him. Oh, maybe he hit him. I don't know. I couldn't tell. Maybe he did tag him. Just couldn't quite catch up to that one? Okay.
It's hard to run when your feet are off the ground.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. I don't know. Maybe he's got some kind of advanced technology. Hoverboards don't work on water. You know, you haven't seen, that's a really good play from Mike Wagner to shift over and drive from the middle like that, but they haven't given him that many opportunities. He's very good at it in sensing that chance, but I think it just kind of has been the patience and precision of Ong and Stineman to just not allow that to cause a problem. Great get. Nice touch again. Good flick on the volley. That's another one where you can just tell that Scott's like, I don't like it that this point is still going. That was an opportunity, and that is just so thin again from Andrew Ong. Such a high percentage conversion rate for that shot for him, too. I mean, usually you see guys go for that, and, they're making, 2 out of 3, on a good day. And he hasn't missed one cut overhead. He hasn't hit all of them that thin, but he hasn't missed any either. That's a tough transition. So we got a match point opportunity here for Ong and Stineman. They're going to play it tough here, though. This is going to be a monster return from Mike, I can tell. Told you.
Are we on replay?
Nope. Once again, just using those powers of perception. And a 7-second delay.
feels like the first time that offensive
has worked.
Activity at the
Yeah,
net
you
has
know, a
worked
big
for
part of that, though, was that they trapped Ong and Stineman off, you know, their comfortable sides in the backcourt, which is, you know, not an easy thing to do, but they just didn't let Stineman off the hook, and he has been playing the ad side 99% of the match. So saving a match point, taking it back to deuce. Yep. A little tough to go for that backhand waterfall on Steinman's side. I was just about to say that he really does have a great waterfall. He's tall, he gets on top of the ball, he is able to hit it with a trajectory that makes it nigh impossible to attack when he hits it correctly. But that going for the backhand maybe was not the option in that particular moment. Back to deuce. Good hands. Yep, that's that one ball with a little bit too much pace. And Andrew turns it, converts it, but uh-oh. Nice hands by Scott there. Read the mistake well, saw the tomahawk coming and took his medicine. That's good. That's a solid point there, stepping up and making some volleys from Kahler Wagner.
See if they can hang in here.
Yep. Solid transition. Oh, jeez.
Good wheels.
Yeah. That was an interesting one because Stineman kind of got frozen when he was in the middle of the switch. Didn't know if he should change direction and go for that ball, but Andrew Ong committed and bailed them out. You know, they've been lobbing well enough in the backcourt there, Ong and Stineman, where I feel like they've sort of neutralized a lot of Scott's overhead because he has a great waterfall as well. And if he gets grooved, he can start putting balls, you know, right into the nick and, you know, move stuff around with touch. And I do feel like maybe they've just, you know, for the most part, Ong and Stineman have just lobbed a little bit better and taken away opportunity.
Kahler and Wagner live to see another game.
Yep.
See if this is a momentum shift.
Now, Randy, would you consider this a must-win game for Kahler Wagner?
I see what you did there.
Yeah. I mean, because I would, but, you know, I also learned old math, not new math, so I don't, you know, it depends. Good transition right there. You can only assume after Stineman and Ong have played, you know, such incredibly tight points so far in the match that the only conversation on that changeover is, okay, go back to making good decisions. Good hands, nice. smart play from Kahler to let that go through. It just didn't quite.
Turns out
turn the
Mike's not as
direction.
fast as Andrew.
maybe not. I mean, that's maybe a slightly different situation as well, as you jump over a ball and let it go between your legs and then give it to your partner. But all right, so love 40 here. Triple match point coming for Ong Stineman. Oh, great dig.
Great dig.
Off that bottom beam. That's it right there. 6-2, 6-2. Ong and Stineman take it over Kahler Wagner. A great match. Over on court number 2, McGrath Volcaire just won in straight sets as well. So it looks like that is going to set up our final. Well played by both teams. It just, Stineman and Ong just didn't give any openings to Kahler Wagner. They just were kind of on lock and waiting for drives and shutting stuff down.
Yeah, again, I think that discipline that they showed, playing their roles, Stineman was dialed in. Ong did not try to do too much. He was very, very smart in his play, and he really took a lot of, Wagner and Kahler's weapons away.
Yeah, he did, particularly from the net. I feel like the last couple times I've watched Wagner play, there's been moments where he has hit, 5, 6, 7 rollers in a row. Really a testament to Andrew Ong's lobbing from the deuce side, where he just wasn't allowing that to happen. He got to hit a few, but he definitely did not, they did not find a rhythm from the net in that particular situation. So, great match. Thanks for commentating with me, Randy, here in wonderful Cleveland Town, USA. Population,
My
all the
pleasure.
cool people. And we will be back in just a few minutes here at 6 o'clock for the ladies' final, the women's final here at Cleveland Racquet Club, hosted on the APTA network. So stick around. We'll be back with you shortly.